Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about F. Wesley Snyder's Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and we're going to talk about a woke overshoot. All right, so Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen is brilliant, but let's talk about a very clear woke overshoot in it. All right, so first of all, let's just acknowledge the woke in the room, right? Woke is a big deal. You know, it's a fundamental attempt to change the world, right? And if you want to call me, and I sign on to woke, right? But I also want to acknowledge when there are bad woke overshoots, right? So tactics matter, right? And we want to win, and I want a woke world. I want a world where all people of all colors are equal, all people of all genders are equal, all people of all preferences are equal. Everyone's treated like a human and treated with respect, right? I'm not going to apologize for that, right? I do believe I want a woke world, right? But there's times when the woke forces win and don't acknowledge it, and it becomes very bad. It becomes bad for the woke brand, right? Now, Dungeons & Dragons is incredibly woke, right? But there's this woke overshoot that is happening on the big and small screen, and it's absolutely happening lockstep in Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. Okay, so let me explain what it is. The female warrior, right? Okay, all right. So this happened on the big and the small screen. Bad. Very bad, right? Okay, let's count it down. Game of Thrones. I'm a Rhaenyra. I'm a princess, but I want to be a warrior. Okay. Lord of the Rings. Rings of Power. I'm Galadriel. I'm a princess, but I want to be a warrior. Okay. Willow. I'm name X, but I'm a princess, but I want to be a warrior. Right? And it's just boom, boom, boom. Like, and I can't remember the Willow. I really like the Willow show. Willow himself is excellent, but that princess on that show, oh my gosh, it's written so badly and acted so badly. It's the worst thing in the show. It's really, really bad. But you could just go right down the line. You could just pick up every single fantasy show on television and on the big screen right now, and they all have a princess that wants to be a warrior, right? Now, here's the problem, right? Woke won, right? The glass ceiling shattered, right? And basically, women are doing extremely well today, and men are dying deaths of despair. It is when you win, it's important that you acknowledge you won, right? And because if you don't, what happens is the trope of a man is a warrior, right? That's the old trope. Actually, the anti-trope of I'm a princess, but I'm going to be a strong warrior, right? The anti-trope becomes the trope, right? We've reached a point where the princess warrior, the princess who wants to be a warrior, is a very, very tired trope. And unfortunately, you will find it very prominently in Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. All right, so let's get there, okay? Hello. So let's walk it through. Hello, I'm Knight of Solamnia Beckland. I'm a female warrior. Okay, all right. This is the first first Knight of Solamnia we meet, right? So she's in the same town. She's in a town called Vogler. Vogler has 2 military leaders. Hello, I'm Cudgel Ironsmile. I'm a female warrior. Okay, all right, I gotcha, I see it, right? Last, you go, so then you're like, oh, well, we'll go down the road. Yeah, so we'll go down the road to Kalamon. You reach Kalamon. Hello, I'm Marshal Vendry. I'm a female warrior. And apparently, in Solamnia, absolutely 0 military leaders are men. And you're like, okay. And here's the thing. You can even put 3 military leaders in your book. That's okay. But you got to pay attention to frequency and sequencing, right? If every single military leader you run into is a female warrior, right? And it's first, second, and third, you're kind of like, and the issue is there should be some military leader warriors in in Solamnia, right? But you get into, you're into like 2 chapters. You've gone through 2 cities, and there's not a single male military leader. Like, it's like the probability is just, it's not even probable, right? So there's a point where, and the thing is, we should absolutely be showing female warriors in Dungeons and Dragons. The problem becomes when the frequency and the sequencing of it becomes literally improbable, right? And then you get situations where, people are like, can I see myself in Dungeons and Dragons? And unfortunately, the last metrics we had, 60% of all Dungeons and Dragons participants are male. And actually, by every metric we've ever had, there has never been a point where the majority of people playing Dungeons and Dragons was female, right? So it's completely okay, on the big screen or the small screen, to have a princess who wants to be a warrior, right? It's okay to put them in the book, right? But you have to watch your sequence. You have to watch your frequency, and you have to watch your sequencing. And one of the biggest things going forward is, as we win, we have to acknowledge we won, right? And that's one of the issues. It's like, thank goodness, right? I'm actually starting to see on Twitter some D&D Sentinels rising up. There's one of my favorite Twitter D&D commentators. I think it's, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's pretty prominent. He works in television, and he created a kind of a famous kids D&D similar product, right, or like a 5th edition product for kids to play D&D, and he's I think he's got DM in his title, but anyway, he's been coming out and saying, hey, it's not cool to be boycotting the movie, man. We got everything we wanted and more, and it's not cool, right? Like, and so I'm starting to people say, hey, okay, we won this. So, on the anti D&D side, or saying, hey, we won. Can we go back now? Can we acknowledge we won? And so I think that, and that's the issue, is I do want a woke world, right? But the reality is, there's a point where you need to show some grace, and even the Civil War we had here in America, right? There was a Reconstruction era, right? And we were like, what is the path back for these Confederates to join the nation and be accepted back in, right? And it's kind of interesting. It's a very interesting question. But I definitely think this is a bad woke overshoot in Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. It's a fantastic book. I've been raving about it, but when there's a problem, you got to acknowledge the problems, right? So I do think, the path forward for Dungeons & Dragons is to have an equal gender. Like, all genders are cool, not just women aren't the only people who can be like military leaders in Grand, in specifically in Solamnia, right? So I just think they had an issue with frequency and sequencing. All that's my humble opinion. What's really important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.